If you look up drug rehabilitation and treatment centers in San Diego County, you'll find a long list of options. How do you decide which is best, and do these programs really work? Ann Fletcher, author of Inside Rehab, The Surprising Truth About Addiction Treatment and How to Get Help That Works, is here with me with some of these answers. Now, Ann, going into rehab is a phrase that we hear often, especially among celebrities, but we don't hear much about what happens afterwards. What did you find typically? What does happen? Are we talking group therapy? What happens?
That's what I wanted to know. And I even found that a lot of experts in the field, I'd previously written a book on this, really didn't know what happened once you stepped inside. So I decided to go inside myself. I visited 15 programs from coast to coast, everything from outpatient programs that treat indigent people to high-end celebrity rehabs and programs in between.
What surprised you most with that?
Oh boy, what surprised me the most? Well, there were a lot of things. One is that the more you spend doesn't necessarily mean that you get better treatment. A lot of people think that, if I spend a lot of money, I'm going to get better treatment. Sometimes it means that, but lots of times I found some very good quality treatment at some programs that treat low-income people, where they really address the whole person, get them going back to work, back to school. So there were a lot of surprises. Another thing that really surprised me is there's a big gap between science and practice in this field. There are a lot of things that we know that are effective for addiction treatment, and they're not going on in most addiction treatment programs in this country. I talked to a lot of experts who study addiction treatment, so this isn't just coming from me. Looked at the studies.
And it's a complicated treatment. This is not something like stop using drugs and we're going to help, it's something that simple. Your book, you come from your own experience, correct? Did you seek treatment for your addiction?
I didn't. I had a serious drinking problem, and one of the big myths is that you have to go to rehab. When people say to me, well, what should I do? The knee-jerk reaction is you have to go to rehab. First of all, rehab can be residential treatment where you go away for, that's the thing that you think, 30 days or longer. Most people in this country don't go to residential treatment. Most go to outpatient treatment where you're going for a couple of hours a day, usually a couple of times a week. And that's just as effective in the research studies as residential treatment.
And we have some of those centers here, the Smart Recovery, correct? That's not
Smart Recovery is not treatment. Smart Recovery is like AA. AA and Smart Recovery are self-help groups. And Smart Recovery is an alternative to AA that uses a different philosophy. So they're two different things. They're not treatment.
How do those AA and Smart Recovery type programs compare to success rates compared to, let's say, inpatient treatments?
They're completely different. They're not the same thing. They're not treatment. One of the problems in this country is that our treatment programs, whether they're residential or outpatient, most of them have adopted AA as a form of treatment, and it really wasn't meant to be a form of treatment.
It was meant for support?
It was meant for support. And even the original teachings of AA were not designed to have it be used that way. And AA is great when it works. It works for a lot of people, but we find that as many as 8 out of 10 people drop out of AA within the first year. So it's a problem when you find that about 7 to 8 out of every 10 programs in the country are using AA as a major basis of their treatment and not telling people about alternatives like Smart Recovery, which would be an alternative support group.
And I want to ask you about that. I know the Betty Ford Center is typical of some of the high-end places as far as treatment.
It's not a place I visited,
right.
But it's a typical what we call a 12-step-based Minnesota model program.
And $30,000 about for a 30-day stay there. Expensive. What sort of alternative centers are there if people do want to be in a treatment program, let's say, versus AA or out there?
Yes, and I visited some what would be called non-traditional, and I'm not talking about herbal places. I'm talking about places that provide non-12-step based treatment, that provide more what's called cognitive behavioral, more science-based treatment, more of what the studies show to be effective. I could give you some names of examples of programs. There's one on the East Coast called Center for Motivation and Change. I didn't visit that program. There's a place here called Practical Recovery that I visited. There's one in Minnesota called Altir. So there are programs across the country. I'm sure there are many others. Many university-affiliated programs are using more science-based approaches.
So lots of choices out there.
And I give examples for how to find people who provide, individual therapists who provide science-based treatment.
And we can find out more about that on our website, where people can follow some links that you have actually recommended at kpbs.org. So Ann Fletcher, thank you so much for talking with us.